The silent roar of Sanjay Sharma. Sanjay Sharma wasn't born with a silver spoon. In fact, he often joked that his family didn't own a spoon. Growing up in a narrow two-room house in Jaipur, he spent most of his evenings on the small terrace, staring at the stars, wondering if he could ever touch them. His father, Raghunath Sharma, a retired school teacher, lived by discipline and simplicity, while his mother, Savitri, snitched clothes for the neighbors to make ends meet. Money was always tight. Sanjay grew up wearing hand-me-down clothes, studying under a dim light and second-hand lamp. But his dreams were stubborn, wild, and unshakable. Unlike other kids who played in the street or gossiped about the movies, Sanjay spent hours in local library. He was obsessed with biographies. Steve Jobs, Dhirubhai Ambani, Elon Musk motivates him. He read them all. He wasn't just reading, he was observing their lives, memorizing their struggles and victories. One evening, his father walked into his room and saw him buried in a book about Dhirubhai Ambani. Beta, his father said with him tried smile, why do you keep reading these business stories? It's good to dream, but life isn't a fairy tale. Sanjay closed the book and looked up. Papa, if I can do, why can't I? His father signed. Because not everyone gets the chance, but if you are serious, don't just dream big, prepare big. Those words stayed with him. By the time Sanjay completed his MBA at 23, he had a clear goal. He didn't want to work for someone else. He wanted to build something that mattered. In 2016, as Indian digital boom was accelerating, Sanjay saw an opportunity. Small businesses, shopkeepers, tuition centers, and tiny restaurants were being left in a digital race. They didn't know how to make websites, run ads, and engage online customers. Sanjay wanted to solve that. Everyone around him thought he was crazy. Don't be foolish, said his friend Ankit. Take a corporate job first, gain experience. You need stability before business. But Sanjay's mind was made up. If I don't start now, I will never start it, he replied, pulling together 2 lakhs, half from his father's retirement savings, half from college friend who believed in him. He launched his first startup, DigiLink Solution, a software service for small businesses. The first few months were tiring. He rented a co-working space, hired 2 fresh graduates as interns, and started building basic software for local apps. Within 3 months, he signed 3 clients. He even spoke at local entrepreneurship event, introducing himself as a founder and CEO of DigiLink Solutions. For a boy who grew up with very little, that moment felt like touching the stars. But dreams don't stay untouched by storms for long. 6 months into the business, disaster struck. His biggest client, a retail store chain that brought him nearly 40% of his revenue, abruptly pulled out due to their own financial troubles. Their unpaid dues left Sanjay gasping for cash. 2 of his interns quit because he couldn't pay them regularly. His office rent piled up, monthly software subscription ate away at his saving. Within a year, DigiLink collapsed. Sanjay had to shut down the office and move back into his parents' house. His father, though supportive, couldn't hide his disappointment. His father said, Beta, we told you that be careful, dreams are good, but you need stability. The word pierced Sanjay like a dagger. His friends, who once praised his courage, stopped answering his calls. At weddings and family gatherings, distant relatives asked, Beta, business kaisa chal raha hai? Forcing him to smile through his shame. One evening, Sanjay sat alone on the terrace where he once dreamed of success. But this time, they felt cold and distinct. He whispered to himself, maybe I was foolish to think I could do this. Maybe I am not cut for the greatness. For the first time, he questioned his worth. Failure didn't destroy his bank account. He devalued his soul. Sanjay sank into a deep depression. He stopped meeting his friends. He stopped going out. He slept late, woke up late, and spent most of his days scrolling aimlessly on his phone, comparing his broken life to a perfectional life of others. Even basic tasks, brushing his teeth, taking a walk, felt like climbing a mountain. One night, His mother knocked on the door with dinner. She found him sitting in the dark, staring at the floor. Sanjay said softly, sitting beside him, "You are my son. You are stronger than this. Failure doesn't define you." Her words were loving, but they didn't could reach them. He felt like he felt like a shell for himself. Sometimes change comes from the smallest sparks. One afternoon, Sanjay stumbled upon a documentary of Dhirubhai Ambani. One line hit him like a thunderbolt. When you hit a rock bottom, the only direction left is up. That night, Sanjay dug out of his old MBA diary, the one where he had written his goals and fairy ambitions. As he read those words, his younger self voice echoed in his mind. "I want to build something that matters." His first line was, "I am not done yet." The morning, Sanjay woke up early. He took a long walk in a park. He breathed deeply for the first time in months. "I failed because I jumped in blind," he thought. "This time I will do it smarter." Sanjay started small. He took up freelance consulting for local businesses, helping them with basic digital needs. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid the bills and gave him a real market insights. He attended workshops, networked with entrepreneurs and devoured books on a lean startups and business strategy. And that's when the idea for his second venture struck. Market Mitra, a platform offering affordable digital marketing solutions for small businesses. Not just software, but it supports a full support. This time, he didn't splurge on a fancy offices. He worked out of his bedroom. He built a small team. Three passionate individuals who believed in his mission. The first month were brutal. He personally visited shopkeepers, restaurants, and tuition centers, offering trial services and dirt cheap rates. Most refused. Some laughed at him, but a few agreed. One of his earliest clients was struggling bakery. Sanjay helped them run a basic social media campaign. Within 2 months, their salary increased by 40%. Word spread. Referrals tricked in. Slowly, Market Mitra grew from 3 clients to 25 clients. By the third year, Market Mitra had over 50 clients and a small but motivated team. In 2022, Sanjay landed his first big deal, a regional retail chain worth 15 lakhs annually. He walked out of the meeting and sat in his car, unable to stop tears. These weren't the tears to defeat, they were the tears of redemption. He drove home, hugged his mother, and simply said, "Ma, we did it." Market Mitra soon became the trusted name for affordable digital marketing. Sanjay hired more people, rented a proper office, and scaled his services. But more than the success, it was the journey that changed him. One evening, he stood again on the terrace, looking at the same stars. This time, he didn't feel small. "I have been broken," he whispered to himself, "but I rebuilt myself, and that's my real success." Sanjay's journey taught him that failure isn't the end, it's the foundation of your comeback. He, now, the mentors of young entrepreneurs, telling them, "Don't fear falling, fear not getting up." And that is the silent roar of Sanjay Sharma, the roar of a man who turned his failures into a fuel, his pain into purpose, and his dreams into reality. Moral: failure doesn't define you, how it rises after it does. The Unbroken Path, the story of Sunil Shah. Sunil Shah was born in the crowded lanes of Ahmedabad in 1992, in a house that had more cracks than comforts. His father, Jitendra Shah, ran a small textile shop that barely made enough to cover household expenses. His mother, Kamla, stitched clothes at home, often working late into night by the dim yellow lights of single bulb. Sunil grew up hearing one constant phrase, "We can't afford it." He was an average student in school but had a habit of observing people carefully. While other boys played cricket, Sunil would sit outside his father's shop watching customers bargaining. He noticed how his father always gave in, often selling at a loss just to keep the shop running. One evening, a just 12-year-old Sunil asked his father, Papa, why don't we expand the shop, get more customer and make it big? His father checked bitterly, Son, some people are not born for big things. We survive, that's enough. But those words planted a seed in a rebellion in Sunil. By the time Sunil reached the college, he had developed a fascination for business. He didn't just watch to make money, he wanted to create something that would make people respect him. In college, he met a senior named Arav who often flaunted his startup lifestyle. Arav told him, Jobs are for the people who play safe, business are the people who dare. That night, Sunil couldn't sleep. He wrote in his diary, One day I will build something that changes my life and my family's life forever. After graduating with a degree in commerce, Sunil got a job at a small accounting firm. The pay was very low, but it gave him enough time to plan. He started saving every rupee, skipping outing and living frugally. Within 2 years, he saved 3 lakhs. It wasn't much, but it was enough for the first leap. In 2015, at his age of 23, Sunil quit his job and started a wholesale business. He rented a tiny warehouse, sourced clothes from Surat and sold them into local retailers. The first 6 months were promising. Orders came in and Sunil even hired 2 helpers. He began dreaming to open a big multiple warehouse across Gujarat. But success is rarely linear. In the second year, disaster struck. One of his suppliers scammed him by delivering a low-quality fabric worth of 12 lakhs. Retailer refused to pay. Sunil warehouse became a dumping ground for unsellable stock. To make matter worse, one of his employees stole cash from his office and disappeared. His father, who initially opposed the business, said coldly, I have told you not to take so much risk. Now see what you have done. Sunil felt like a failure. He avoided friends, relatives and even his parents. Nights were sleepless, filled with anxiety. By 2017, Sunil sold whatever he could repay a portion of the debts. But he owed the lenders over 4 lakhs. Collection agents started visiting his house. One evening, while sitting alone on the terrace, he whispered to himself, maybe Papa was right. Maybe I was never meant for big things. The thought of giving up crossed up in his mind several times. He even considered moving to another city and starting a low-pay job just to escape the shame. But then something happened that changed everything. One afternoon, Sunil went to a small cafe to escape his thoughts. There he overheard an elderly man talking about his own journey from bankruptcy to running a successful logistics company. Sunil couldn't resist. He walked up to the man and said, Sir, I'm sorry for disturb you, but how did you know it? How do you do it? How do you came back from the failure? With curiosity, the man smiled and said, Sit down, son. I will tell you something that people don't teach in business schools. Failure is a teacher, not a grave. You don't quit when you fail. You rebuild smarter this time. Sunil spent 2 hours with the man whose name was Mr. Prakash Mehta. Before leaving, Prakash said, If you want to start again, call me. I mentor young entrepreneurs, but remember, this time patience will be your weapon. That night, for the first time in months, Sunil felt hope. Under Prakash's mentorship, Sunil decided to start again, but in different industry. He spent 6 months researching business opportunity with low capital but high growth potential. He noticed one booming trend: e-commerce support services. Small business was struggling to sell online efficiently. Sunil launched Sell Smart Solutions in 2018, a company that helps small retailers to set up and manage their online stores on platforms like Amazon and Flipkart. This time, Sunil started lean. No warehouse, no big loans, just a laptop, a rented desk in a co-working space and his brain. Prakash, er- Prakash advice enshrined in his ears. Start small, scale smart, and always have a plan B. The first year was very much tiring. Sunil personally visited a small shops convincing them to take their business online. Many laughed at him. Many laughed at him. Who will buy your products online? We are local sellers, they said. But Sunil didn't give up. He offered to work for free and for the three clients just to prove his worth. By the end of the year, his hard work paid off. 12 small businesses became his paying clients. For the first time, Sunil felt like he was on a right track. Just when things were improving, Sunil faced a new kind of blow of betrayal. One of his early employees, whom Sunil trusted deeply, secretarily started poaching clients and launched his own completing service. When Sunil found out, it shattered him. Why would you do this? I treated you like a family, Sunil confronted him. The man struggled. It's business, Sunil. Don't take it personally. For weeks, Sunil couldn't focus. He considered shutting down, but he remembered Prakash's words. Business is a test you do with fire. If you can't handle betrayal, you can't build. Instead of quitting, Sunil tightened his operations, introduced contracts, and rebuilt his client base. In 2020, the pandemic hit. While the world saw crisis, Sunil saw an opportunity. As physical shops shut down, every small businesses wanted to go online. Smells Sell Smart solution became their lifeline. Within a year, Sunil client base grew from 25 to 120. Revenue tripled. He finally moved into a proper office and hired a dedicated team of 15 people. By 2022, Sunil signed his biggest client yet, a mid-sized textile brand that paid him 25 lakhs annually. The boy, who once couldn't pay off his debts now, had a thriving company. When he handed his father a new car as a gift, Jitendra's eyes were welled up. I was wrong about you, Sunil, he said softly. You were meant for big things. Sunil didn't stop at money. He launched a mentorship programs for struggling small businesses owners just like Prakash had helped him. One evening, standing on his office balcony, Sunil whispered, I lost everything once, but I found myself in the progress. That's my real success. The moral of the story is failure is not your end, it's your training of ground. Learn, adapt, and rise. The long road of Rohan Mehta. Rohan Mehta grew up in a one-room apartment in Mumbai, he with his parents and a younger sister. His father, Anil Mehta, was a clerk in government office, and his mother, Suman, worked as a tailor from home. Rohan often watched his father come home tired every evening, his shirt soaked in sweat. One day, at 12 years old, he asked his father, Papa, why do you work so hard if we still don't have enough money? His father smiled weakly because, son, some people like us don't get to big dream. We work to survive. But Rohan didn't agree. That night, laying on the floor beside his sister, he whispered to himself, I will not just survive, I will do something big one day. After finishing college with a degree in commerce, Rohan took a job at a call center. The pay was very much low, but he didn't care. He wasn't there for to stay forever. During his break, he watched YouTube videos about the startups and read articles about self-made businessmen. He was fascinated by the people who built something from nothing. By saving each and every rupees and skipping all the luxury, he managed to collect 2.5 lakhs in 2 years. In 2016, Rohan decided to start a small food delivery business. He called it Quick Box, a simple service to deliver homemade meals to office workers. At first, it worked well. His mother cooked and he delivered it. Slowly, orders increased. Rohan even hired two delivery boys. For the first time in his life, he felt like a real businessman. But good time doesn't last forever. One of his delivery boys got into an accident while delivering food. The customer complained publicity on social media. Overnight, Rohan's business started getting bad reviews. Then a big food delivery company entered his area. People switched to them because they had more options and faster services. Within a year, QuickBox was nearly dead. Rohan had to shut it down when he told his father, Anil signed, I warned you better. This business world is not for the people like us. This is very competitive field to survive in. Those words cut Rohan very much deeply. He felt like he had let everyone down. After choosing his business, Rohan fell into the depression. He stayed in his room most days, scrolling on his phone aimlessly. He avoided friends because he couldn't face their questions. What happened to your startup? One evening, his mother knocked on his door and said softly, Rohan, failure is not the end. You still have time to charge your life, but you have to try it again. Her word struck with him. A week later, Rohan attended a free business workshop in city just to get out of the house. There, he met a man named Arvind Sinha, a 50 years old young successful entrepreneur. Arvind noticed Rohan sitting quietly in a corner and asked, Young man, what brings you here? Rohan told him everything. He failed in his business, he is in debt, and he is hopeless. Arvind smiled and said, Son, failure is a part of journey. Do you know how many times I have failed before my first success? Fine, you only failed once. You haven't started yet. Those words felt like a Rohan's chest. With Arvind as a mentor, Rohan decided to start over. This time he wanted a business that is very much low cost, high demand. He noticed that very much small people struggled to use technology. They didn't know how to sell their product online. In 2018, he launched ShopLink, a service that helped small businesses to sell their products on e-commerce platforms like Amazon and Flipkart. Struggle all over again. The beginning was painful. Rohan visited dozens of shopkeepers, but most said no. Who will buy your products online? They laughed. But Rohan didn't give up. He offered free trials to shopkeepers. When they started earning online, word spread. Slowly, ShopLink grew with 20 clients. Rohan worked 14 hours a day, skipping holidays, living on instant noodles, and investing every rupee back into his business. In 2019, one of his employees betrayed him by stealing a client data and starting a rival company. Rohan was devastated. He thought of quitting again. But then Arvind told him, Business will test you, Rohan. The real winners are those who don't quit. Rohan tightened his system, created a strict contacts, and rebuilt his client base. In 2020, the pandemic hit. While many businesses shut down, ShopLink became a savior for shopkeepers who need online sales to survive. By the end of 2020, Rohan had over 150 clients and a team of 18 employees. In 2022, he got a big win. A large regional brand signed a contract with ShopLink of 48 lakhs annually. When Rohan told his father, Anil hugged him and said with tears, I was wrong, beta. You proved me very much wrong. You are made for big things. Rohan didn't stop there. He started a free mentorship program for small entrepreneurs who want to become big, who dream big, but they are paying back because of failures in their business. Standing in front of a group, Standing in front of a group of young business owners, one day he said, I failed once, I was broken, but I stood up again, and so can you. The long road. Rohan stood on his office balcony watching the sunset over Mumbai. He thought about his first failure business and the betrayal and the sleepless night. And then he smiled. All of it made me who I am today, he whispered. He realized that success wasn't just about money, it was about reliance. He also thought that if I have would stopped over that day only, and if I have not got a meet with my sir, what would happen? I would left poor. So, moral of the story is failure is not the opposite of success, it's a part of success. Don't quit, learn, adapt, and rise as much as you can. Rising from the Rust, the story of Kabir Verma. Kabir Verma grew up in a small railway colony in Nagpur. His father worked as a railway mechanic, fixing old engines, and his mother ran a tiny tea stall near the station. Life was simple, but Kabir was always felt restless. He would sit near the tracks and watch long trains pass by wondering, do people living in the big cities know how lucky they are? Will I ever get there? His parents often told him, Kabir, study well, get a stable job, and live peacefully. But Kabir didn't want peace, he wanted more. After finishing school, Kabir couldn't afford college. He took a job at a car painting repair shop for 6,000 a month. The work was dirty and exhausting. Grease covered his hands every night, and customers often treated him like he didn't exist. One evening, a rich man bought his luxury car from repair. Kabir noticed that man has an expensive watch, clean suit. How do people become like him? He wondered. That night, he wrote in a cheap book, I don't want to fix cars forever. I want to become a own business and want business. One day, while cleaning a junkyard behind the garage, Kabir noticed piles of old, rusted car parts. Most were thrown away as useless, but Kabir had an idea. What if I could collect these parts, fix them, and sell them cheaply to people whom can't afford new ones? It was glamorous, but it was something new. In 2017, Kabir quit his job and started collecting scrap cars parts from junkyard. He cleaned, he repaired, and resold them to a small garages at half of the price of new parts. He worked from retented tin sheets, sleeping on the floor at night. People laughed at him. Who will buy this junk? They mocked. But slowly, word spread. Small garages became buying from the parts were very much cheap and it was reliable. In the second year, Kabir faced a huge challenge. A large scrap dealer in the city felt threatened by Kabir's growing businesses. He used his influence to block Kabir from buying parts at major junkyards. Suppliers stopped selling to him. His stock dried up. Kabir was crushed. Maybe I should give up, he thought. One night at a tea stall, Kabir met an old businessman named Yusuf, who used to run a recycling company. Kabir shared his problem with Yusuf. The old man said, don't depend on others for scraps. Create your own network. Go to villages, buy directly from car owners, cut out the middleman. That advice changed everything. Kabir started traveling to nearby towns and villages. He spoke directly to the people who owned old, broken vehicles. Sell me your junk cars, he told. I will pay you instantly. Soon villagers started calling him whenever they had scrapped vehicles. By the end of 2019, Kabir had built his own supply chain. By 2020, Kabir has a team of 5 people and a proper workshop. But then the pandemic hit. Lockdown stops the transportation. His business nearly collapsed. Instead of panicking, Kabir adapted. He launched a pickup service. People called him. His team would collect the scrap from the vehicles from their home. This smart move kept his business alive. When the others were shutting down, Kabir was starting it down. In 2021, Kabir officially registered his company name as Kabir's Auto Recycle. He expanded from just selling parts of used cars, used bicycles, recycling every and entire services, turning scrap into a raw materials for factories. His business doubled in a year. But success brought new pain. One of the Kabir trusted employees secretly started a similar business using Kabir's client list. It felt like a knife in his back. Kabir was angry but didn't quit. I will build something so big that no one betrayal can stop me, he told himself. In 2022, Kabir signed a deal with a very much car company with a very much car recycle mental. The boy who once slept on the workshop floor and ran a company worth crores. Kabir never forgot his beginning. In 2023, he launched Rust to Rise, a training program for unemployed youth. His goal was simple: teach them to repair, recycle, and resell auto parts, just as he once did. The first workshop was held at the same tin shed where his journey began. Standing before 25 young men and women, Kabir spoke from the heart. I know you don't believe in yourself now. I have been where you are, but opportunity changed my life, and now I want to give you that same chance. The program grew quickly. NGOs and local officials supported it, and soon dozens of trainees were earning through a small repairs and resell. Kabir felt proud, not for his profits, but for creating a new beginning for others. But life wasn't done testing him. One evening, his manager delivered bad news. Their biggest client, a steel company, was ending the contract. It was nearly 40% of the revenue. At one moment, Kabir felt a same hopeless boy from the garage days. But then he steadied himself. We won't give up. If one door closes, we will build another, he told his team. That night, new ideas sparked. Manufacturing affordable furniture using recycled metal. Within months, Kabir launched Eco Furnish, creating a low-cost, eco-friendly chairs, tables, and storage units. The first batch sold out into 2 weeks, and soon schools, small offices, and NGOs became their regular buyers. Once again, Kabir had turned a crisis into an opportunity. In 2024, Kabir was invited to speak at a National Entrepreneurship Summit in Delhi. Standing before hundreds of students and business leaders, he said, I started with nothing but scraps. My hands were covered with grease and my dreams were laughed at. But I learned when the rust can shine, you can't refuse to give up. The crowd gave him a standing ovation. After the event, an old man approached him. Sir, my son joined your training program. Today he earns enough to support our family. We will always bless you. Kabir felt his eyes swell up. Thus, changing lives meant more than any profit. One evening, Kabir stood outside of his new headquarters, Kabir Auto Recycle and Eco Furnish. He thought of his journey, the greasy hands, the betrayals, the nights of workshop floors. He thought of every failure that had shaped him. His phone buzzed. It was his mother. Beta, are you still working? Kabir told, Yes, Mama, I am still working. His mother told, Come home soon. We are very much proud of you. Kabir smiled, looking at the Glory Company sign. He whispered, I built this from the rust, and now I will be keeping building this for everyone who needs a second chance. For Kabir's success, there was no longer just about money. It was about the respect, impact, and giving back. And he knew that what he has built. So this was the Kabir inspirational story, and he has shaped everything. A greasy hands. The moral of the story: even the dirtiest scrap can shine when polished with resilience, and so can people.